Coaching from him, perhaps. It's a good ball. Grayson. It goes towards Owen Road. Brilliant save indeed. Walsh has scored. Leicester City are in dreamland now. Vardy in the middle. This could be a huge moment. Vardy scores. And it's pandemonium in Leicester.
Mahrez with his left. Albrighton with his right. It is Mahrez. It's a good ball in. Morgan's there. It's in. Leicester City score. It is a captain's goal from Wes Morgan, who lifted the Premier League trophy in May. He might have played a big part now in taking Leicester City through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League.
Lift the trophy to the skies. Leicester City are the champions of the Premier League. 5,000 to 1.
Good evening and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for another late night Leicester. No Aussie Luke this time round, so sorry to let you all down. He's on his honeymoon in Canada, so I'm sure he's having a lovely time. But yeah, we have got a great panel still tonight. And Neil, mate, what's going on? How's things with you?
This is my late night Leicester debut, so I'm actually a little bit nervous, but also quite excited. So it's a bit like coming out for a big match, like a cup final or something like that.
I'd be nervous if I was you, especially with Chris underneath you, mate. Especially with Chris underneath.
Would you rephrase that, please? But yes, mate, I would be nervous. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Sorry, Chris. Would you rather be on top, mate? Was that better?
I'm a top man, yes. I tell you what, this will set the tone, right? I had to go for, when you get to a certain age as a man, you have to get things checked out at the bottom end, And I went along, and they went up and down a few times checking. Well, I came out of that thing thinking, well, if ever I turn gay, I'm going to be a giver, not a receiver.
For God's sake!
That was awful.
We've started as we mean to go on, just like the previous 2 weeks. I think we made it 20 seconds into the last one before Luke started talking about his shit. So at least
not mine.
Yeah, Clibber, mate, what's going on with you? How's things?
Yeah, all good. I'm actually able to sit in my living room. It's been a building, well, it still is a building site. So happily, I can sit here and not be covered in dust, so all good. But if this show goes anything like the one I was on the other day with Chris, this should be fun.
Yeah, I tuned in at the perfect time for Chris's when you were talking about food, and there was a lovely ham baguette on the screen. Wasn't very.
I don't know what you mean.
You don't know what I think you do. Let's start off. I want to start off by talking about, people already say it in the chat.
Tell you something, brother. Well, let me tell you something,
Hulk
brother.
Hogan. Hulk Hogan has Clibbo. I mean, you mentioned while we were off air, mate, about shocking news. Obviously, talk to me, mate. Hulk Hogan's passed away.
Well, as growing up, I was a huge fan of wrestling, the Saturday afternoon World of Sport, and then when it started to get very, very popular, the American thing came over. Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks were kind of getting older, and then we seen this larger than life Hulk Hogan guy, and that was it. I was hooked, and I still take an interest a little bit in wrestling, but he was the main guy, and it's a sad loss, a real sad loss, I think. Although I don't. I mean,
Chris,
there's a few wrestlers that would dispute that. So I've heard.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've seen bits and bobs. I mean, Chris, you didn't even know, mate, until we mentioned it, until I mentioned it to you just then.
I'd been out when it all sort of happened. I mean, R.I.P. The guy was a character. He was in the film, I think, as well, wasn't he?
Rocky 3.
They all do, don't they? They're all in movies.
Yeah, but I was like Clibbo. I can remember sat there on a Saturday afternoon with my dad watching, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and Kendo Nagasaki and all of those. And let's be honest with you, I mean, no disrespect to the guy, but the whole thing is acting, isn't it? You know, it's not wrestling, it's not fighting, it's poncing about in fancy outfits.
Conspiracy theory alert.
Say what?
Conspiracy theory.
There is no, come on. If that was a real fight in the street, they wouldn't be getting up as quick as that. It's all fake. You know,
it's not. But it's entertainment, right? That's what it said. Because I mean, it's different nowadays. I mean, I think back then they did used to actually pretend it was real, right? Now it's different. They kind of let you see behind the curtain, and they kind of embrace that it's all fake and scripted, right? But Chris, some of the stuff they do, mate, is still pretty fucking crazy. You see them jumping off 50-foot cages through tables and all sorts. I'd like to see you do that.
Excuse me. If I was their age and had their physique, I'm not, and I haven't.
There's an interview with Ken Shamrock, and I don't know whether you know Ken Shamrock is, but he was with the WWE for quite a while, and he was also a champion UFC fighter. And when interviewed once, he said the difference between wrestling and UFC is that when I wrestled, I guaranteed got hurt. In the UFC, I didn't. And he's a hard motherfucker.
And Neil, wrestling, mate. Hulk Hogan, obviously, but wrestling. Were you a fan when you were younger?
Yes and no. I went through phases. I mean, first, I think it's an interesting one because I think as an actual human being, Hulk Hogan was a bit of a scumbag, putting it mildly, if you put some of the stuff that he posted. But yeah, he's one of those people that despite that, you can still have admiration or even say that they're a legend. Like, you know, Michael Jackson for different reasons is another one, right? Like, you know, you can't take it away that he made some absolute bangers and the guy had more talent in his little finger than entire swathes of the music industry today. So for sure, I mean, for me, it's a bit different because I didn't have Sky or anything like that, so I couldn't really get to appreciate him as much as other people. But I had a friend who did have it, and I did used to go around sometimes on like a Sunday and watch like the playbacks and stuff like that. And you got to say, as Clibbo just said, what a character he was. You know, I think even people today, like The Rock and stuff like that, they didn't really have anything, in my opinion, on Hulk. I think Ric Flair was another one. And, you know, some really good people, larger than life. They made it entertainment. And yeah, it was really, really good. And yeah, you mentioned Rocky. That was actually my sort of first introduction to him, like him versus Sly Stallone, and that was pretty hype. So he's absolutely a memorable figure, you've got to say. And I think, yeah, and it's funny that with wrestling, it's one of those things that at first I thought, oh, this is just kind of pathetic. And you start watching it, like, actually, it's pretty hype, isn't it? It's a bit like a sort of men's soap opera, really. And then you're like, oh no, this is too much. You lose interest. But then as Clibbo says, every now and again, you have a little cheeky peek back into it. I mean, for me these days, I think it's been ruined more, to be honest with you, by finding out more like people like Vince McMahon and the sort of disgusting people that they are behind the scenes. And actually, I think like the poor treatment of the wrestlers themselves. But I think, to be fair, like, you know, I don't know if you've seen his YouTube channel. I forget what the name of the guy is, but he's the guy that won the first ever like WWE reality show thing, and he's got his own channel and he's explaining like some of the stunts and stuff like that, and it's really, really fascinating. And he talks about
Is that Maven? Is that Maven?
That's him. Yeah, that's him. I'm not too familiar with him. I don't really remember him much as a wrestler, but I've seen his channel and it's pretty interesting. And you can see that I think a lot of people behind the scenes are pretty sound. They just get treated pretty badly. But yeah, what an era. And you know, for sure, like you got to say that during the 90s, I mean, it was such a sort of like iconic decade. And that was one of the reasons why it definitely played its part wrestling. So Hulk Hogan, RIP, yeah.
Let us know in the chat who everybody's favorite wrestlers. I mean, I'm younger, so for me, my favorite wrestler is,
And his name is John Cena.
Lame.
John Cena. I love John Cena. I mean, it's his retirement tour now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, literally 5-year-old me running around doing this. But yeah,
can I ask you quickly though, even though he's your favorite though, could you at least respect the wrestlers from an older era? Because I think, to be honest with you, like I wouldn't say, for example, Hulk or Ric Flair were my era. They were probably like a bit older, right? Probably more like The Rock was my era sort of thing. Yeah, but to be honest with you, when you watch those ones back, you can't help but think, I mean, they were good. right? You could just feel they had the charisma, they could entertain the crowd. Like some people had it, some people don't, but some people are pretty timeless. I'm just curious as to what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch too much, or didn't even watch too much of the older stuff. I mean, The Rock. I mean, The Rock is just a legend, to be honest. In wrestling, Stone Cold, Steve Austin. They still. I mean, this is like with every wrestler. They reel them out every now and then. You know, at WrestleMania or something, even though they're about 60, 70, 80 years old, to do a bit of promo. But I tell you who else I like. Clibo's a little bit like him today. Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He was a legend as well. But no, go on. Who's Clibo? Who's your favourite, mate?
Well, I always like the ones that I always saw as a kid that actually ended up in the WWF at the time and did well. And I remember seeing, as a very young kid, I remember in Skegness going to the wrestling and seeing the Dynamite Kid, and he was a skinny little boy, really, probably about 16 years old. But I think he was one of the best technical wrestlers that's ever lived.
Yeah.
Dynamite Kid.
Chris, you said you don't seem like a very big wrestling fan, mate.
I hadn't heard of a couple of those that you said, so no.
Who have you heard of?
Well, obviously John Cena I'd heard of. Mankind, don't know who the hell he is. Undertaker I've heard of. I'm more, I can say, because I've just laughed at it. I just watch it and laugh, and but when you go back to start there on the Saturday afternoons with my dad, it was a bit of time, just him and me. I can say Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks. Probably my favourite was Kendo Nagasaki, but I was too young to realise that it was all sort of put on.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Somebody put it here. Let me bring it up. I think it was Jack. Jack said, I don't know if you remember this. It wasn't too long ago. Hornswoggle. Do you remember Hornswoggle?
Yeah, little Irish guy. The little Irish leprechaun.
Yeah, he was a dwarf. It was a dwarf, right? And he would come in, but basically dressed up as a leprechaun, pretty much, and start like flip it, getting like fucking 20 stone men on his shoulders. It was nuts. But he came up with the other. Go on.
Okay, didn't they used to have wrestling matches at the Granby Halls?
I don't know. Clibo might know.
Yeah, they did. And I tell you, Hornswoggle, his what was the Irish guy that used to
Finlay?
Finlay. Yeah. Do you remember
Finlay
from the Big Daddy days? And his wife was his manager. She came on dressed as a Red Indian. And then he disappeared and came on to WWE and was this massive star. Finlay, it was called. Yeah, there's another one. And Steve Regal was a big star in England as well before he moved over.
Is that William Regal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Regal, yeah. Yeah, he changed his name to William because he came up with this sort of royal mock, cod English accent, didn't he? And he was very regal and royal. So William, and he changed his name. But it was Steve Regal in England.
Yeah, I remember Finlay and Hornswoggle. That was rather funny. Let me see what some people are saying in the chat here. You've got Jack says Booker T as well. Yeah, what a legend Booker T was. Where's this one?
Wasn't
he? Yeah, Hardy Boys. Yeah, one of the best tag team duos in wrestling. The Hardy Boys. They're still go. I saw them like. Again, another pair that were reeled out recently, but looking about 55, 60. No, I'm not quite that old, but clearly past their best. Yeah, I mean,
who remembers the Bushwhackers? Whoever watched WWF?
Bushwhackers.
They were crazy, proper crazy.
Them.
Yeah. Trish Stratus, yes,
Trish
please.
Stratus. Yeah. Yeah, I saw somebody earlier put like about how nowadays it's shit. I mean, yeah, to a certain degree, you've got just some kids in there who are just, it's awful to be honest with you. You've got this one guy called Jey Uso. Do you still watch it, Clibbo?
I don't watch TV, mate. I haven't watched TV for 3 years.
They've got this guy Jey Uso who his whole thing is just saying yeet, yeet, and it's just so it's awful. It's awful.
Embarrassing.
Chris, is that the WWE 2025 annual you've got there, mate?
It is. I'm just admiring the lovely physiques of all the women wrestlers. Now, that's if we're going to talk women wrestling, then I'm quite into that. I mean, maybe add a bit
Stacey Kibler.
Yeah.
What?
Do you remember?
Clibbo,
do you remember?
what
There was one called.
I was
Sorry,
going to say, Clibbo, what was the match they used to do? They used to have a match type, and it was with the women, and it was called like. It wasn't like I can't remember what it was.
Bra
like
and panties match.
Bra and pants match. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
They used to do them. Chris would have liked that one. He would have watched it then.
Oh, totally, absolutely, totally. Yes. I mean, like I say, could have done with a bit more mud being added, but
Mud. What?
mud. A bit of mud wrestling. Yes.
Right,
I got to say, Knox, as a teenage boy, I said that I dipped in and out, but when I watched it, it came back on Channel 4, and they did have those sort of matches. Like I say, Stacey Kibler or Trish Stratus. I was like, oh, maybe I do like wrestling after all. You'd never get that these days, but that 90s era was pretty politically incorrect.
She's still fighting. She's still in the WWE, by the way, Trish. She's still going now. So
you see, we had British ones, and you might remember this as well, Chris. Our versions were our women
Who's
wrestlers
this?
were like, oh yeah,
I've no idea, but I'd watch her.
There you go, Chris.
Well, we had one called Klondike Kate. You should look up that and see the difference between the American ones and the British ones.
And they'll exposed.
Yeah.
It left an impression, is all I'm saying.
Triponion says Clibbo's the TV license rebel. Go on, lad.
Yeah.
Where is Captain Baked Bean? Luke is on his honeymoon in Canada. So there
he's on his honeymoon loading the dishwasher, isn't he?
Yeah. yeah. I'll tell you what else. I mean, we were going to talk because I had a bit of an inspiration. I mean, we spoke about it in one of the earlier late night lessons, and I saw Chris talking about it, food and stuff like that. Which thanks, by the way, Chris, because you guys talking about food the other night at whatever it was, 11 o'clock at night, it made me very hungry. So I wanted to do it again, right? So Chris, let me ask you this, seeing as though you weren't into all the WWE stuff. Yeah. What is your go-to like takeaway? What would you go for? Indian, Chinese? What are you talking?
Basically anything. That's why I'm a fat bastard. But no, I'll tell you. Well, if I've got to choose one, it's got to be a Toby Carvery.
What? What?
What?
You are a madman.
Why?
I just asked you. What do you mean? What? I just asked you what's your favorite takeaway, and you said a Toby Carvery.
Yeah, you can have a Toby Carvery, Deliveroo, or Just Eat, I guess, as well. But Deliveroo to your front door.
Right.
What is wrong with that? I mean, you have fish and chips delivered. No, I'm not having that. You have a Chinese delivered. You have Italians delivered. Why can't you have a roast meal delivered?
Let us know in the comments what you think of Chris's pick there. Clibbo, I think that's a disgrace what Chris has just said, Clibbo.
I don't get it.
It's a bit vanilla, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I have an Indian, I'm farting all night.
When Chris goes to Tesco, he gets his meal deals, ready salted crisp, bottle of water, just ham.
And a bottle of water,
I love a ham roll.
Oh,
yeah, I know you do. Yeah. Go on, Clibbo. What's your go-to?
Well, on the odd occasion that I do have a takeout, there's a very specific Chinese takeaway. I don't know whether I'm allowed to advertise them on your channel, but
yeah, go for it. Yeah,
it's Glenfield House. The guy there has been there since I was a kid. And do you know what? When he doesn't have a till or anything. He's got the old what do you call them? Where you slide up and down to do the counting. I can't remember what you call them.
I don't know.
Abacus?
Before my time.
They're like columns, and it's dead old hat. You know, same decoration for the last 40 years. But they do. I have a beef curry, and it's so hot that your arse goes down for a drink next day. But it's so nice. It is so nice.
What are you saying, Neil? Because I have this thing, right, that I think for sit down Indian all day long. If I'm going out somewhere, it's an Indian. But takeaway for me is always a Chinese. I think Chinese is for like takeaway delivery. I think Chinese is above Indian. But if I was going out, it's an Indian. But yeah, what's yours?
Yeah, I was going to ask for clarification on that because I think that's important. Like, I agree that I think to get a takeaway Toby Carvery is bozo alert. But I think to go there, I think to actually go there and sit down there for a good meal on a Sunday, which is reasonably priced, I actually think that's a good shout, right? I think it's underrated for doing that. But I can't, to be honest with you, a bit of a setup. I can't answer the question just because my Deliveroo count is outrageous. My LTV for Deliveroo, I must be up in their super premium range. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm lucky that where I live, there's so many places that, to be honest with you, it's rather than having a favorite, it's just, I'll tell you right now, on a Saturday night, it's quite often that is at least once a week, and sometimes as many times more, I will order something from Deliveroo. And so, to be honest with you, it's just whatever mood I'm in. And I think it's good. Like, obviously, you got some that you prefer than others, but I actually think it's bad if you're just one of those people that's like a one-trick pony that you only. Yeah, what Jack said. I think it's bad if you just always go for the same thing. So to be honest with you, I just try and vary it up and see whatever's there. And if there's a new place, I'll go for it. So look, the food is like, there's so many different types you can get. Just try something new and go for it. So I like all the stuff, to be honest. I think sit in, you got maybe a different point, but yeah, sorry,
it's always
still out. Yeah,
it's always for me like my two. It's Indian, sit out, like sit in, sit out, sit in. Indian or I love Nando's. You see, I love Nando's, but in Indian chili paneer. You know me, chili paneer. I love chili paneer.
In my defense, I cannot eat Indian because I have a reflux problem that I have to take a tablet every day, so I can't have anything spicy. Before I started taking these tablets, if I had a margarita pizza, I would get heartburn just from the bit of spice that's in there. So I love an Indian, but they hate me. I just literally can't eat one.
How about this? Is a good question. What do you think is underrated?
Oh, I've got one straight away.
Go on.
Korean.
Oh, yeah, that's a good shout. That's a very good shout.
Korean fried chicken.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that. We've got a place sort of near me. It's called Superstar Barbecue, and they've got like you put all the meats into the middle and you cook it while you're sitting down and eating it, and like the smell is amazing. And like when you come back home, the smell is all over your clothes. But you know what? It's not bad. Like even wake up the next day and you still get a little bit of a whiff of it. Like, oh, that was pretty good. That's good. With Mexican, I would agree with you, Danny, but I've got to say, in the UK, Mexican is rubbish in my opinion. Sorry, because if you go to like this other countries in the world and you have Mexican food, you're like, oh my god, this is incredible. But you come back here, it's not as good. It's a bit like say Indian food. It's a similar story. If you go to like America, Indian food is rubbish in my opinion. But in London, it's actually, or not just London, Leicester's another one, right? So or anywhere in the UK, but it's properly good over here in this country.
Yeah, because like anybody in, I don't know if it's a countrywide place, but I think there's one in Loughborough. I don't know if there's one in Leicester. Plan Burrito. Don't know if you've heard of that. I don't know if that's a nationwide thing, but I've had that before in Loughborough. That's really good. Greek as well. I mean, there's so many people putting forward Greek. Yeah. There was one more as well that I wanted to bring up. Turkish. There's a Turkish restaurant on London Road called. Clibber, are you Leicester? Are you in Leicester?
Yeah, Markfield.
Yeah. What's that one on London Road called? Do you know? Do you know which one I'm talking?
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I've not been into town for about 5 years.
Yeah. He's such a rebel, Clibbo is, isn't he? When we get onto conspiracies, there's got to be some serious stuff going on with Clibbo.
That's all I do. Sit reading conspiracy theories.
No, not Jim and Doner Kebab's good, but it's fake. It's fake. It's not like It's a fast food thing. I'm trying to think of the name now. I'll have a look. But there we go. Perfect. Thank you, Anil. Konat. Was that you that typed that?
Yeah, because I've been there.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Konat on London Road. That is very, very nice. Right, Clibo, you did say a Chinese. So what is you said beef curry. What's your full order? What is your order from a Chinese?
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm greedy or anything, but it'll be a full pack of prawn crackers. It'll be 2 boiled rices, a curry, and a full bag of chips. That's my standard order.
And what do you have for your main course?
It all gets eaten. It all gets eaten. Well, the thing is, I literally have a takeout as a treat. I don't, and I don't very often have them, but when I do, I like to spoil myself a little bit. Afterwards, I like to rub it into my skin and stuff. Just so that I can be tasting it overnight. I don't really.
What are we saying about this? Let me ask you guys this. Let me come to you, Chris, first. What do you think this is called? Well, when was the last time you were in Leicester?
I've not been in Leicester city centre for 12, 13 years.
You're not missing anything. It's a shithole.
Apparently so. Yeah. The nearest I got was when I had the season ticket. My sister used to live around the corner from the KP, and so I'd park on hers and just sort of walk round to it. But as regards to the city centre, no, I've not been there say 12, 13 years. I wouldn't recognise it probably.
Yeah, it is. It's a shithole. It is a shithole. Yeah, I agree with that. Clivo, I'm guessing. I mean, you said you don't go in there much, but it's not great, is it?
Well, the thing is, the last time I went in there was probably about 4 years before I'd been in before that, and I didn't know where anything was. I think King Lewis's was there last time I went in before that.
I mean, Anil, we went for a nice drive to the countryside in Corn, to the Corndon Fox for a meal back in November. But when was the last time you were actually in?
Well, no, normally if I go and see a match, that's obviously because I come from the stations, you're pretty much forced to go through the city centre to go to. I mean, you don't have to. You can go around the other way, but I prefer to do it that way. But to be honest with you, you guys are right. And do you know what's a bit sad is it's definitely got worse. Because I think back to like when I used to go to games maybe like 20 years ago and stuff like that. And like, don't get me wrong, I've got to say that I don't think it's like specifically just the Leicester thing, right? Like, the reality is the high street is dead across the country, right? But I just think it's sad how what the high street has become is, let's be honest, has become a betting shop, phone shop, pound shop, and the one highlight Greg's. So at least there's a Greg's, a few of them.
Don't forget cash converters.
That's that's another one. It's not a pound shop, but it's similar.
And a vape shop every other shop.
Yeah, JD Sports, whatever. It's just a bit. Even High Cross the last time I went was pretty pathetic. And I know it's a shame though.
Yeah, don't forget the Turkish barbers as well.
Well, at least that's somewhat useful, I would say, although they're blatantly just sort of like money laundering fronts. But
yeah,
the reason I say that is that, like, back in the day, like actually going down to the mall was sort of like, part of a hangout. Like, you might go there to chat up some girls or whatever like that. And it's like now there's no point of even like there's nothing to do there, right? So it's just lame. So yeah.
Meet at the Clock Tower, go to MC Sports. And there's flipping Ainsley's record shop.
Oh, I lived in Ainsley's record shop. I loved it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
They used to sell a thing called Old Gold. So if you ever if you had a tune that hadn't been in the charts for like 6 years, you could still go down there and get it.
And that's the only way you knew anyone was touring before the kind of internet. So you go.
Also, listen to the records, Clippo. Like, I mean, obviously, we're going to sound like right boomers to locks, right? But there was a certain magic that you would actually go down to record stops, and they would have like the latest albums and stuff like that. So you'd be sitting there for like an hour, like this, like boogieing on down, and that was pretty cool. And you would also meet other people from doing that. So it was a much more social experience, and there was something kind of special about that.
Yeah, but
I've
you
only
were doing
got
that in CNA, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where was that? Where was that comment I just saw? I remember JJB. I think, yeah, that closed. Did that get? Did that actually? I think it actually got bought out by Sports Direct, didn't it?
Yeah,
JJB.
Mike got my cash lead.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Here in the States, every block there is a Starbucks and a McDonald's.
Terrible.
Yeah, I miss buying sweets from Woolworths, paying for the pot and absolutely ram the sweets in and push them down to get more. Yeah, High Cross, still call it the Shires time. My mum always calls it the Shires, to be honest with
That's this OG name, right? OG name.
I
you.
do.
Yeah. Right then, Blockbusters as well. Blockbusters, and there was another one as well. What was it? Choices. Do you remember Choices? That was one as well, wasn't it? That was a DVD game video shop.
Oh,
Do
that does ring a bell, actually. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Do you know why women always used to go to CNA? But they knew
Go
which
on.
way to put the knickers on.
Oh, for God's sake.
You invite me on. You invite me on. Let's just say, our Wilco has come back in, Paul. It closed down, but they've reopened it up over the range.
Yeah.
Go on then, Clibbo. You mentioned, we were joking with you, conspiracy theories.
Well, the one
Give
I
us one.
constantly go back to is the moon landing.
Oof, a classic.
Yes,
It is,
Okay.
but there's more and more things sort of cropping up. Me personally, I am currently in the camp that I don't believe it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, this is one of the oldest, obviously, conspiracy theories. It's a classic. Chris, I saw you nod in agreement when he brought up the moon landing, mate.
And why have we never gone back? And how could we do all that with a machine that uses less intelligence than a £2 calculator? I mean, it was impossible. And my only thing that stops me believing that is the fact that if they didn't go, why didn't the Russians blow it up and sort of show them up, so to speak? But my go-to conspiracy theory is Princess Diana.
Yeah.
An inside job.
I reckon Prince Philip has something to do with that. No, I don't. But no, she that wasn't. I don't think that was an accident.
Shut up. You think it's a conspiracy? Yeah, no, the moon one's interesting though. I mean, I always there's loads of people that talk about online different theories and stuff like that. Maybe I saw one the other day. Maybe there's aliens there, and they told us not to come back somehow. There's what? Do you believe in aliens? Anil?
Like Benfield, really, isn't it?
That one we'll get to. But I think a lot. Do you know what the funny thing is? I think obviously you start looking like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where you start connecting all the dots and everything like that. And I think like a lot of these are interlinked. Like I think the moon landing one's an interesting one. At first, I used to think like people are mad for not believing it, but to be honest with you, when you look at the videos and stuff like that, my actual impression, actually, I don't know if Clibbo's like this, but I think that the video of it, that probably is fake. But I do think we've been to the moon. And I just think, because if you think about it, the way that it's all kind of set up, it just seems a little bit overly choreographed, right? But what's the word for it, right? And the sort of transmission times back then and stuff like that, it does seem a little bit like sus, but I do think we could have got there. And it is, but then to be honest with you, so I think what kind of Chris led into is more interesting, which is then why haven't we gone back? And why is the budget for NASA so sort of small comparatively? And I was saying this in basically the BTG group chat the other day, but I think if you look at like technology in general, right, everything has got better, faster, smoother, whatever. But one thing that hasn't is that why is it that when you get on the plane, if anything, planes are slightly slower today than when they were in yesteryear, because you used to have things like Concorde and things like that. And it like literally doesn't make sense. Like battery life lasts longer. Computational power is better, right? Efficiency on stuff is better. But why is it that that one thing is? And you can probably see where I'm going to go to, and I guess what my conspiracy theory is, and that is that I think that we are holding back essentially another energy source that would solve the planet's problems. But the reason why is because it basically the entire world is built on the petrodollar, right? And it's power and resources into it. So it's not in the best interest, even if you had it. And that obviously makes you feel like a quack. But this is the one that I go to with locks. The reason why I sort of like, as I got older, started believing this stuff more is because this seriously happened to me when I was about 15. There was a friend of a friend, but I do know the person who did this. And basically, he invented a kind of male version of Imac for having a shave. So you could put this kind of cream on your face and it'd give you a perfectly clean shave without you ever having to get a razor. And it was like really, really good. And basically he sold this patent for it to Gillette, and they sold it for, I believe, £23 million, right? And I guess I didn't see that family ever again, funnily enough. But the thing is I know that Gillette are sitting on this patent, right? But they've never, ever made this product. And why have they not made this product? Because why would you make that product if you're making hand over fist for this cartridge and razor blade model? And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe one day, if sales are really tanking, they're like, oh shit, right, we better press the nuclear button and press the other thing ready to go. But they don't need to do it right now. So when you sort of see things like that, it just makes you think that, unfortunately, because we have to live it, well, you know, you can argue as to who or why, but things like that are possible. So I think a lot of that stuff kind of is connected. But I mean, as we say, as Elm put in, you know, what have I just tuned into tonight? But I think some of this
maybe we're being drip fed. We're being drip fed stuff.
That I could believe, which could, because okay, let's come back to the one that I'm surprised no one's mentioned, right? We're talking about, you know, the Epstein thing at the moment. And
Ooh.
you know, the thing with the Epstein thing, which is like genuinely shocking, right? I mean, it's obvious why the list isn't being released right now because of Donald Trump. But the thing is that the Democrats, they were in power and they were sitting on that list for donkeys, and they didn't release it either. Why not? So what it really shows you is that there clearly is a different power structure above both. Now, whether it's in an official capacity or it's just power and influence is a different thing, right? And that we can argue. But clearly, you know, that's why it's as I say, it's a bipartisan issue. And I think they said it back in 2016. They're like, if I release the Epstein list, both the Clintons and Trump are doomed, right? So they're both killy fuckers, unfortunately, right? But clearly, it's not just those two that are. So, but yeah, I just find that is the kind of feeling that we're in a managed reality. And it's like, I'm sorry, you peasants, but you are not allowed to know. So watch your Sky Sports, watch your Premier League. We'll allow you that, but you shut the fuck up about this other stuff. It doesn't concern you. Happy clap, go on and be on what you want. So yeah,
I don't even think that's a conspiracy anymore. You know, I think
I think
it's almost mainstream. I mean, it's like we all know that things like Big Pharma, they're not interested in giving you the cure. They're interested in keeping you alive for as long as possible whilst taking your monthly subscription of painkillers, of, you know, statin and all that crap. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Well, that's even worse, though, isn't it, Clivo? Because if you follow the same logic, that probably implies that they have cures for a lot of stuff, right? But they hold it back. Because why would I sell you the cure? Right, exactly. Because it'd be better to sell you on this expensive stuff. And it's almost like we're seeing that as well. Like right now, you've got these kind of slimming jabs, right? Now, I won't knock them because I've got a few friends that are on them. And it's honestly, Jesus Christ, I didn't believe what that stuff is possible for doing, right? It's going to extend people's life expectancies. But you know what? The thing with the slimming jab is that as soon as you come off it, start getting fat again. That's a good business model if you ask me, right?
It's neurological, isn't it? It's a blocker, isn't it? That's what it is.
My sister's on it.
Yeah. So I was watching a TikTok the other day from somebody saying that they.
Yeah, it is the tinfoil special. It's the tinfoil special.
No, I was going to say I was watching a TikTok earlier of somebody who. Oh, not earlier. Sorry, a few weeks ago that said that they lost like 7 stone on the jab, and then they came off it in like 2 weeks. They put like 4 stone on in 2 weeks or something ridiculous, just because they just start eating again like a pig. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
What do you reckon, Chris, mate? Some of these conspiracy theories, mate.
We'll never know, will we? I mean, the aliens is the big one. Do they exist? Are we alone?
No.
And I just that, and like the UFOs as well. What gets me with that is that when we can't physically be the only people out there. I mean, I look, you three and think, God, there's got to be alien life out there, hasn't there? But sorry, guys, but when, like, if you look at all that, when we fly in a plane, they all look the same. Different countries, but the basic shape of a plane is the same. Now, all these people that are seeing UFOs are seeing different shaped UFOs. Some are cigar shaped, some are saucers, some are triangles or squares, whatever. There's not that many other people. I mean, if there's these, people are coming over in those spaceships, surely they'd be all the same bloody shape.
Yeah.
I think it is ludicrous. I mean, I've got
aliens.
Yeah,
aliens.
No, totally, Mike.
Have you been following some of the latest stuff with this, by the way?
Crazy.
Right. Yeah. So I've got to say that one. I don't know about who has been to the pyramids, by the way.
I've seen it out of a plane, but I've not been on the ground.
All I'm saying, that's one of those places on Earth that if you ever get to go, and I encourage you to go, it's just incredible. Like when you're standing there, you just think to yourself, "Holy fucking shit! It's impressive now." Do you know what I mean? It's impressive now. And that wasn't just made like year zero. Like in year zero, it was still fucking ancient. And we don't even know allegedly when they were properly built. So the thing is just when you see that, and another one, I haven't been here myself, but I've seen photos of like Machu Picchu in Peru, where they've got these incredible stones taken up a friggin' mountain and there's no even roads to take them up there. It's like, it doesn't have to be aliens per se, but clearly there was some technology or understanding of the world in order to be able to do that stuff. Because I say with the pyramids, they've worked out that if they were to do the so-called, the thing that people go with it, it's like logs and slaves and stuff like that, they'd have to be working non-stop for like 400 years to pull it off, which is just, come on, that's nonsense. That's not how they did it. It was obviously some other way of doing it. So anyway, they found some structures, or allegedly they found a lot of structures underneath. And the thing is, right, is that why hasn't that been made available to the world, right? And the latest thing is they found, using this sort of deep penetrating radar, a 40-foot metallic object underneath something just to the side of the pyramids, which of course is where your alien thing kind of cross into. And like,
and there's a gatekeeper. Yeah. I mean, I was watching a documentary the other week about it, and somebody did the math. Allegedly, the pyramid, I can't remember which of the three biggest ones, but yeah, this was it here. Apparently, they placed 300 blocks a day, and these blocks are like what, 2 tons? It's like it's not possible. It can't be done.
Has anybody seen that new documentary? Who's the guy that does The Chase?
Bradley Walsh.
Yeah, he's just done a new series, hasn't he, on the pyramid?
That was awful.
Yeah. I've not seen it yet. I'll watch it then. I'm going to watch it.
Bradley Walsh is the most cringe. He's the most cringe guy I've ever seen. Mate, in the documentary, you'll turn it off just from him, just because of him. You'll turn it off.
Didn't he used to play for Brentford? Bradley Walsh.
Yeah, he used to play football. Yeah, and he did his knee.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to. I'm just googling it here. Who he played for? He played for.
I've seen that Gordon Ramsay was playing for the Rangers under 18s or something like that, but he was really good at both, and he chose cooking profession, which fair enough, worked out for him.
Yeah, it was Brentford. Yeah, it was Brentford.
Wow.
Yeah. I was going to say Genghis Khan destroyed the knowledge of many civilizations when he conquered, but there was also the Library of Alexandria, right, in Egypt, where apparently all of these historic records were kept, and it all burnt down, so that they lost just hundreds of years.
I don't think that's a conspiracy. That's just humans being fucking stupid, right? Because like, I don't know about you, but for me, I think it's outrageous that even in the modern world, why are there so many wars going on around the world? Like, I would have thought that humans have got past it. I just don't. again, it's just like, oh, my
it's the
imaginary
nature.
god is better than your imaginary god, or my slightly odd way of living is better than your slightly odd way of living. It's like, fucking hell, guys, what are we doing? Like, let's sort out the real problems in life. When are we going to get a striker at Leicester City? Come on, let's focus on what's important here, guys. We've lost the plot.
Yes. Fucking hell.
I think somebody said earlier about if aliens are landing at Leicester, maybe we can sign a couple of them up.
Yeah. I was going to say the Vatican. That's a big one as well. People talk about what is under the Vatican. I mean, it just
popes.
Rome. What'd you say?
A few popes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Joe says a good point. Because of nil, the majority of the human race are fucking thick. I also think it's just how we're wired. By the way, I think it's just how
both
we're
are true.
wired.
But do you know what? He is right. But that is another thing as well. Is it's clear that like we do suppress like the education that could be given to people, right? Like, because you could do a lot more effort to educate people, make them not thick, but it's in the best interest to keep people thick, right? Because then they're not going to question, if everyone was capable of critical thinking, might they be like, hang on a minute, why the fuck does this one guy have more money than 95%? In fact, why do we even have money? Couldn't we just sort out because I'm betting you like 10,000 years ago, whatever, when people lived, I don't think you thought, oh shit, if I don't get to, bring home the bacon, I'm dead. They probably had much better systems and a much better way of life, I'd have thought.
It's usually down to bloodlines. If you have a look at the real,
yeah,
all got like a bloodline that goes to.
I interviewed a guy for my radio station last year, and he did a documentary, and it's going a bit weird here, but about the royal family being aliens and what have you. But one of the points that he made, which apparently is documented but we will never see, was that when he was in Canada once, before he was Diana or Camilla or anything, Prince Charles actually flew a UFO.
That sounds a bit crazy, but
Well, he says it's crazy, but everything's crazy if you think until something's invented or something's proven. It's crazy, isn't it?
Is that the best they could get to pilot it, Prince Charles?
When and I know he has said some slightly outlandish things, but I remember not that long ago, David Icke, obviously he was a sports presenter, and then he started saying some weird shit and everyone took the piss out of him, and then. I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago, I was having a bath and I thought, I'll flick through YouTube, and this thing came up with him from the 90s. Serious, and all this stuff he predicted, and I was watching it, and honestly, my mouth was like down here, like shit. Every single thing he said has happened. Everything.
But he also said the royal family were fish, didn't he?
He said they were lizards.
Lizards, that's it, lizards.
Well, that I don't think is a conspiracy. They fucking are.
Well, it's funny, people say get him on, but like if he comes to visit your premises, like they won't allow him a lot of the time. He's definitely blacklisted a lot of things. I think he's fucking mental.
If David Icke was on here, we would get the channel would be shut down within an hour.
So that's the thing, right? And so that makes you think that, like, I think he's more one of those that he's thrown 100 darts at the dartboard, but one of the darts is actually fucking bang on. The problem is because he's thrown so many, you don't know which one of it is. But for that to happen, it might, I can't believe that because that's the thing with a lot of these things. I feel like there's no smoke without fire. So I think sometimes the ones that are like easy to just sort of write off are the ones where there sort of isn't. But when there's sort of something like it's, Chris, you mentioned the thing with aliens again, but that's like another one where, again, I've gone through things of thinking, oh no, this is just all bullshit, right? But then it's one of those things when it's like there's so much, there's just so much, and it keeps coming up that you're like, it can't. There's no smoke without fire. For me, the big one was when that guy David Grush went in, in front of the Congress and said, "No, we do have a program." I was like, "Fuck me, okay." That program has been rumored for like 50 or 60 years, so clearly there's something there. And then what it is, of course, is a different story.
didn't Donald Trump promise that if he got elected, he was going to release all the files about aliens and UFOs?
Do you know what, Chris? I wouldn't be surprised if he did, just to get the fucking heat off his back now.
It's like the
But he
JFK
didn't know he said that, and
right?
it's never happened.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the JFK stuff, right? He was bigging it up. Was like, I'm gonna be the one to release all this, and then they released it, and there was just nothing really of any substance, to be honest.
It's funny how with the Americans, like with like a lot of the Apollo stuff, it all goes missing.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does.
This one, I reckon Antarctica is where they keep the UFOs. Because no one
there's something
inaccessible.
There's something there. If you go through the lore of UFOs, it's pretty interesting because there's this thing called Operation High Jump, which took place over there, and there's Nazi bases and all sorts of shit. But it's one of those that, again, I feel like it's funny because obviously it's an icy continent, but there's no smoke without fire. There's clearly some shit going on down there, and the question is just like what it is and why.
If we wait long enough, global warming will answer the question for us, won't it?
maybe.
That's true. I was going to ask you guys, right? With 10 minutes left or so. If you could go back in time, I'll ask you first, Anil. If you could go back in time to one moment for a day, 1 year, one moment for a day, where what would you go back to?
Is this of the conspiracy thing or just the anything thing? Because
anything you want.
Well, because obviously you probably did something that made you feel happy, so I'd probably choose something like that. But just given this sort of discussion that we're having and to make it a bit more interesting, because there's some good conspiracies, I think I would choose the 1947 Roswell to see what actually did land. Just because I think that one is so interesting. I would like to know one way or another if we're alone or not. I don't think we are. I think there is something to it big time. Well, we'll talk about that later. So yeah, that one I think will be pretty interesting. Yeah.
What about you, Clever mate? What would you go back to?
Well, seeing as it's just been a big anniversary, I would go back to the very moment that Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones came onto Live Aid to introduce the legend that is Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Oh, that's a good one. See, that's about making you happy, isn't it? Were you there, Clibbo, by any chance?
I wasn't there. I wasn't.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Michael says here, Live Aid 1985, because I was only 6 years old. Dorco said 1966, we won the World Cup. What about you, Chris?
I'd actually go back to last Friday. No. I'd go back to last Friday.
Yeah, the brilliant Toby Carvery on delivery.
No. Get the lottery ticket. Get the lottery numbers. Find out what they are and play them again. Look, now, I mean, seriously, I mean, you, there's the obvious ones when it comes to family and your kids being born and what have you. I suppose I would go back to the day I got married and I'd stop myself doing it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
See, Cameron's one about the season. That was one that I was thinking of, because I got to say that if you were there in the stadium on the day that we lifted the trophy, that entire day was absolutely magical. Like it wasn't just that; it was like afterwards you were just walking around town, and it's like basically seeing an entire city on the piss up all together and everyone having fun. Like people were just so nice to you on that day as well. They were just coming over to you. Oh, do you want to have something to eat? Oh, you go, lad. They were like people just like, they had all these Italians coming over as well, and they were properly fun. Like you see a lot of times people celebrating, but I've never seen anything quite like that, where there was just sense of like you had witnessed a miracle and everyone was just happy to be from it. And that's why, like, you know, I don't even begrudge other sort of clubs having success and all that, but I just don't think, even if you do, I don't think you'll have anything like that day. That day was absolutely.
Did you cry that day, Anil?
Tears of happiness, I would say. Yeah. When Morgan lifted the trophy, just so you know, so I had to pay so much money to go on that, and I was sitting in the fucking Everton end, right? I gave my actual ticket to someone else that I know because they're younger, which is good. So I was standing next to essentially a stranger, but we were all looking at it together, both Leicester fans, and we saw it, and we were just like, "Fucking hell, this is." Andrea Bocelli, like I'm not even the biggest opera fan, but that was incredible. Like, the whole day, and it rained for a little bit, and then the sun came out, and it was just like I say, I'll never forget that day for as long as I live. And it was all just positive memories. And I would say, even like again, I was sitting in the Everton end. Do you know what? Some of the spot was next to me. Like, I was trying to be like kind of reasonable. I didn't want to go mental. And they're going, lad, go for it, mate. Sing fucking Jamie Vardy. We don't care. Deserve it. And I was like, it shows you it transcends sports, even them. And there were a couple of naughty people in that end, but the actual fans around me said, oh no, not this lad. He's cool. Let him go. He's cool. He's fine about it. And I respected that. So yeah, that would be good. And I think what was nice about that though, is that's not even just individual. That was a moment that was cherished by whatever the population of Leicester is, right? I mean, what a brilliant day it was.
I was going to say, mine's a bit boring. I would go back and watch the Beatles in the Cavern Club.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, that Locks. That is
I'd
good.
like to do that.
That's nearly as good as mine.
Or then maybe go back and become their manager and stay there. that's another Epstein, isn't it? But
no, and you looked, you got rid of John Lennon or something like that.
Put myself there.
Yeah.
I was going to say as well. Obviously, I think we'd all love to see how the pyramids were built as well. Going back to what we said earlier, that would be pretty cool with that knowledge. Oh, this is a good one. Bitcoin. Get on the Bitcoin. Yeah, get on Bitcoin nice and early. That's another good one. June 17th, 1994, World Cup was going on. NBA Finals, OJ Simpson chase, US Open golf. So Michael was, that's crazy. Leicester winning the Premier League. What a memory. I think the whole of England cherished that day of watching us lift the trophy, apart from Spurs fans. Yeah, we were the most loved club in the country, and now we're hated, right?
I remember writing that on my CV years ago. I mean, years and years ago, when I was a musician, full-time musician. On my CV, I put, favourite this, favourite that, ambitions, and the first thing I put was watching Leicester City win the Premier League, and everyone laughed at me.
My
now. They can't take it away from us, can they?
I was going to say my cousin used to have a VW Beetle, and she sold it to somebody who had put £2 on Leicester winning the league, and that's who she sold it to.
My friends in Rotherham, the people at the back of them paid their mortgage off through a £20 bet they put on at 5,000 to 1. Paid the house up.
That's a point. I would go back, because I'm not a betting man, and if I'd put a bet on it, Leicester would have probably not won it. But I would go back and put a bet on us winning the Premier League. That's a good one, that. Yeah.
Did you see this? On the day that we won the title, there was actually a bus that pulled up, an open-top bus, and it was full of every single person that had bet on Leicester to win the title.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Like, they put on the side of the bus, like, it was like Paddy Power or something, like, these guys were smarter than Paddy. Next season's odds were this or whatever like that, and I thought that was fair play, class, because they must have taken a right beating in them.
I was going to say Paddy paid out in like February or January or February.
No, they offered that, so they actually said, because they knew how much they were going to lose. They're like, okay, we will pay out now. I think on 2,000 to 1, and I think some people did take it, but a lot of people stuck for the ride, because they say 20 quid on that is colossal.
I think someone in the chat could correct me, but I think they actually ended up paying out the 5,000 as well, because of one of their marketing things, right? Saying they were the only bookies to pay out like early on that. I mean, Paddy Power are funny, aren't they? With some of the stuff that they come out with, it does make me laugh. Do you remember the Jose Mourinho advert as well? And Rodri Giggs. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, that was pretty clever, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, quality. Dorco says, was Clibbo in Waddy? You're a musician, and were you a music teacher as well, Clibbo?
I was, yeah. First 10 years of my life, I was a session musician, and then I had my youngest child, and who's now the same age as Reese, I thought I'd better go back to school and learn to do something. So, I became a teacher.
I think I've seen drums in the backdrop.
Was that film School of Rock your life story?
It's a little bit similar. It's a bit more wild than that, but yes.
Yeah, I think because I think I've seen in the past drums. Am I right? Have I seen drums in
Yeah,
the background
yes.
somewhere?
That's what I trained to be. Yes, I still do it. I still do it all the time. You can see me popping up at De Montfort Hall now and again and places like that.
Oh, nice! You'll have to let us know, Clever. We'll get the
I'll get you next time I'm there. I'll get you tickets.
well we'll tell everybody. We'll tell the BTG chat about it, and they can come and watch. That'll be good.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
No worries.
Let's end with this. I'll come to you again first, Clever, just because we're talking to you. Ozzy Osbourne, were you a fan of Ozzy?
Oh, huge fan of Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, the first time, I tell you, the song that done it for me was a song called War Pigs, which they actually did the other day with the original lineup a couple of weeks ago, and that done it for me. And ever since then, huge fan. I just loved the guy. He was, I mean, like, he was a bit of a dick sometimes. Let's be about right, and did some dick things. But the idea of him being around in his pomp now amongst all these wet pop stars, it just makes me laugh. I think it would be hilarious. But yeah, for all his bad bits, he left a legacy that'll live longer than all of us. So that's an achievement.
And Neil, I've not really been into his music, but I just love watching the videos of him online because it's just so funny. And the reality show they did as well.
Yeah,
one of my favorites is him trying to work out how to use a TV remote, but it's like some futuristic TV remote, and he's pressing buttons, but it's linked to it's like a smart home, and he's like turning on the shower and stuff. He's trying to and then he finally puts the History Channel on, and they're talking about the war and stuff. But go on, Neil, talk, mate. Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, just for that, what an iconic character. I mean, it's funny. Like, he's one of those that, like you seeing that show, and I was like, how does this guy even alive? Like, you feel like someone put there, like, with his his lifestyle and stuff like that, and just he's one of those that you'll never see. Unfortunately, the way that the world is, you just won't see people like this anymore, right? And I know you could say there's sort of good and bad things about it, but I think it's bad. You miss that kind of stuff, like these sort of real characters that, as you say, lasting legacy and very memorable and a lot more positive, I would say, than negative. Of course, there were some negatives. Everyone's human, right? It's impossible, I think, even these saints, I mean, look at the Catholic Church and stuff like that. Turns out that sometimes there was a conspiracy piece. Some of these people for you aren't as what they seem, right? So, yeah, I think he's definitely something like that. And like I say, I think it was a character you'll just never ever sort of see again. I can't really say too much about the music, but clearly there's so many people that love this. Yeah, Prince, I think, was like, yeah, actually, that's the thing for you. Like, say with musicians, I'm trying to think, when was the last time there truly was like an iconic person like that? Like, if this generation's one is Taylor Swift, I mean, all I can say is LOL, right?
They'll be forgotten in 10 years.
Yeah, but Madonna's probably the last one I can sort of think of as someone who, like, at some point maybe, but I can't think of too many more like that though. Like, someone who, like, them releasing a new album was considered like a front page almost of the news sort of thing. Like, oh my god, like I remember Michael Jackson, every time a music video would come out, like, you would be running home to tune in on Top of the Pops to see, they're going to be showing Michael Jackson's new video today, and the video would have like a budget bigger than the movie and crazy stuff like that.
Somehow the Taylor Swift shade is the worst thing we've said tonight, apparently.
Clearly.
What about you? What about you, Chris? Ozzy Osbourne.
He was an icon, like everybody said, and I got into him more through the reality. I mean, it was just what I like. I didn't like his music, but that's just personal taste. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But respect what he did, where he got to where he was. My personal love of him was that he didn't give a shit. He basically just said what he thought, and like you said, Anil, nobody will be like that anymore, And just going back to what you were saying about Michael Jackson, I can remember when they released the Thriller video that it was actually a program on its own, and it was something like
Really?
yeah, it was something like 12 or 1 in the morning, wasn't it, Clibbo? It was being shown in America at the same, live, and it was, I think it was Channel 4, and it was literally was a program on its own, and it's like, yeah, you don't get that these days, but no, R.I.P. Ozzy. I could say he'll be giving the language up there to Jesus, won't he?
Yeah, Michael says, to be fair, if NSYNC or Backstreet Boys came back, the housewives would go bonkers.
Yeah, but they're not on the same level. They're not on the same, because even people that don't like Chris just said there with Ozzy Osbourne, you don't even have to like his music, but it's something that it transcended,
Oasis.
But that's UK only, I would say. Well, maybe more than the UK, but Oasis were never big in the US, for example. But yeah, I think in the UK,
massive.
Here they basically are.
You ever watch his Michael McIntyre's Big Night? When he does his Send to All?
Yes.
And he had Sharon Osbourne on there.
Yeah.
And he'd sent it out to everybody. And Ozzy had rung in about 10 times. And they did end up taking the call at the end, but only him could sort of ring back in the middle of a bloody show. But yeah, the world will be a duller place without him.
Yes,
yeah, for sure. And it was, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He was on stage at Villa Park, for his last appearance.
Like it was planned.
Well, he did say that, didn't he? He did say that he wants to go on his terms. So you never know. You never know. Right, we're going to end it there. Interesting discussions tonight, as always, on Late Night Leicester. We'll be back.
You have to have a ham sandwich.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I had the photo still. I did. I can't remember if I took a photo of it. I think I might have, but I've lost it.
I can put it up if you want.
Yeah, bring it up quickly. Bring it up. Let's see what a couple of people are saying. Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline, iconic song. Thriller became a movie. Think music's too managed and corporate now to get diehard legends. Yeah, that's a good shout. While Oasis was big,
related to that one, Elms put Taylor Swift did transcend. She made fucking billions of the era tour. It's fucking huge. That is true. But I mean, Taylor Swift, her dad was like the owner of Mackenzie Bank or whatever like that in America. She got pushed hard. I'm not saying she doesn't have talent, and you got to, real respect. Well, you got to say the amount of people that go to her shows, fair enough. But that's why I'm saying I don't think it's quite the same as so. I mean, you could say even the Jackson 5 were pushed and stuff like that. But I mean, do you know? I don't know. Maybe you see, I'm coming from where I'm not, but I feel like this sort of genuine sort of push talent. I say she's good, but I don't see her being on that iconic status as some of the other ones I mentioned. But
I mean,
feel free to disagree. It's all good.
Bieber was massive, but he was pushed, and he was part of Diddy's crew, right? Or he was involved with Diddy for a long time. One of my favorite stories is Ozzy inviting Robin Williams to cheer up Sharon during her cancer treatment and convince her not to give up.
He is a legend, mate. Now that is a real shame that he committed suicide.
Yeah. What a legend.
You heard the story of Robin Williams with Christopher Reeve when he got paralyzed being Superman, and Robin Williams came to visit him, and he impersonated a dodgy Russian doctor. And he came in, and that's amazing. Yeah,
that's incredible.
OG Superman. And Christopher Reeve, even though this operation, I think he only had a 50-50 chance of success, so severe was it? He just completely burst out laughing when Robin Williams was there, and he said, "He goes, I knew at that moment I was going to be all right." And something there's even one with Robin Williams where he's meeting this gorilla in a zoo, and you can tell even the gorilla recognizes, this man's a ledge, and is proper hugging him and opening. What you just could tell that his soul was pure.
Don't worry that you can't find it, Chris, because I think I've found.
Have we got ham cam?
I've found something extremely similar to what Chris brought up, so I'm going to bring it up. But this time we actually get a. I'm going to have to 1 second do some quick work here. Yeah, you have to make a choice, boys. You've got to make a choice, okay? Right. So, will you take the left or the right? I'll start with you first, Clibbo. Here it is coming up now. Left or right?
Well, Neither. They've got butter on. I can't eat butter.
The one on the left might not have any butter. I can't see any, mate. You might be all right with that one.
I'll be honest with you. If that was the options, celibacy.
Chris, care to comment, mate?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's missing, I'd have the left one, but only if you was some mayonnaise on it.
Oh, for God's sake. Adil?
Right for me, I'm sorry.
And actually, that sounds bad, doesn't it? It's a bit like young.
Right. We're ending it with that. We're ending it with this comment for now.
It does indeed, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anyway,
You know where to go now, have you?
We're going to end it there. We'll be back.
Before you say anything, if there are any elites watching tonight, any government elites, we're all getting shot for the conspiracy talk.
Yeah. They'll be knocking on your door. They'll be knocking on, our door.
Yeah, I get my location away online as well.
There you go, Chris. Salty mayo, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to be back live tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Actually, the match day live watch-alongs. We're going to have 2 watch-alongs tomorrow. One at 10:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. For the 2 games. So you can join us from that. It will be Doc. Doc will be hosting that one. I think Manny will be there for one of them as well.
Can I come on and compliment Luke Thomas?
Yeah, sure, do it, mate. I'll send you the link. But yeah, we'll be 10:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. And then of course we'll be back on Sunday for the Good Morning Foxes, which will be another good one because we'll be getting another episode with Graham Brock. Graham Brock will be back with his Indiana Jones hat and his scarf. So make sure to join us for that one too. Cheers to Anil. Cheers to Clibbo. Cheers to Chris. And yeah, as Clibbo said, if you are working for the government, please don't come knocking on our doors tonight. That would be much appreciated. We won't.
If you are working for the government, remember it's blue tinted glasses. Isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Right, lads. And remember, everybody, as always, big thanks to our sponsor, Match Bingo. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the first watch along. Bye all. Cheers. Take care. Massive thank you to today's sponsor, Match Bingo. Over 200 grand has been paid out to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo and combining them into one amazing app. Make sure to get your bingo card for any Leicester City game in the upcoming season. Click that link in the description or via the QR code on screen.